it's September 25th, 2009, and I'm in the bungalow of a blind lady's house in Alpine, San Diego, California, and I'm terrified, and I need to get out of there. And if I rewind really quickly, the reason I'm here is because in 2008, I met a rather, at that time, unfamous Jason Mraz on a street in Melbourne, and I said to him, "Hey man, it's my dream to play in San Diego." And his response was very swiftly, "Well, make that happen, man." And I was like, I never even realized that I can just make that happen. I always thought I needed like a hit song. I thought I had hit songs, but no one else thought that. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And so the next day I rang my friend who worked for Virgin Australia Airlines and I said, "Can I get cheap tickets to America somehow?" And you can, apparently. You can get standby tickets through family or friends. And I need to dot point this section because otherwise my story goes for like an hour. But basically, that staff ticket standby meant that on September 25th, 2009, I got bumped from 5 flights and I ended up at the last minute having to buy a $3,000 ticket. Otherwise, I'd miss my first show that I'd booked via Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, the way that I met this blind lady was between meeting Jason Mraz on the street and flying to America. I was like, "Hey, San Diego, I'm coming. What have you got for me?" And this lady was like a fan of my shitty songs, I guess, and she offered me her bungalow and said, "I'm really close to town. You'll be fine. It'll be great." And I was like, "All right." And my mum was like, "That's a horrible idea." And I was like, "It'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine." So the only thing that I needed was someone to drive me to her house because she's blind. And so a friend of a friend who knew a San Diego girl organised my lift from LAX to Alpine in San Diego. So we're driving to Alpine and we're about 45 minutes out of downtown San Diego, and she's like, "Man, how are you going to get to San Diego every day?" And I was like, "Well, she said there's a bus." And she's like, "Well, it's going to take you hours." And I was like, "This is inconvenient." And I get to her street, and I meet this blind lady, and I have to keep saying she's blind. I've got nothing against blind people, but you have to understand, as an Australian who's never left the country before, and the only view of America I have is movies, I was like, this is the land of guns. This is where, like, people can just carry them. And so I'm terrified already of just being here. I saw a yellow school bus and I was like, what? That's real? That happens? I thought that was a Simpsons thing. And so I meet this lady and she invites me into her bungalow where I discover that the shower doesn't work and her internet doesn't work, and she needs me to fix her router, which I happily oblige to. But while I'm doing it, she says to me, "Oh, first we have to find her router." And first she pulls out a box of desk fans, like those little fans, you know what I'm saying. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, this is a box of fans. This is a fan." And she says, "Oh, sorry." So she gets the router, and I set it up for her, and then I get on Skype immediately to my partner back home, and I'm like, I'm a little terrified because whilst I'm setting up her router, she says the following 3 statements to me. "My mother is a bit crazy, so put this wooden stick beneath the door and the wall, because sometimes she walks in." I'm like, okay, that's terrifying. Next she says, "My ex-boyfriend shot someone once and he's jealous that you're staying here." And then she hands me a chime and says, "Put this on the door for when you don't want to be disturbed. That's how I'll know not to come in." So I'm on Skype in my bungalow to my partner at the time, and I'm like, I'm fucking terrified, this is horrible. And I can see out the window she's hobbling towards my door, and she goes, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling on the chime, and I'm like, she'll go away, right? And she ding-a-ling-a-ling, she doesn't go away. So my girlfriend's like, you need to get out of there. So at the last minute I call the girl who dropped me off, who was planning on just dropping me off and leaving me there. And I'm like, can I live with you for a month? And she's like, okay, we're coming back right away. Turns out she was also terrified by this lady. So I get to her house and I get a phone call from the blind lady, and she says, I'm going to need my router back. And I was like, I didn't take your router. And she's like, you took my router. And I was like, what kind of business am I running where I come to America and steal a router? And I was like, the internet's working, clearly. Anyway, and she's like, I don't know what your motives are, but my friends know where you're playing, and they're going to come hurt you. And so my friend Jenny, who I just met, I'm so sorry, my friend Jenny invited all her friends, and they came and protected me when no one arrived, and what I'm saying is follow your dreams, it works out.